Good morning, everybody. Well, it's morning for me. In today's video, we are going to be addressing the whiny noise in the radio on the boat. Yeah, so last year, if my memory serves me correct, we installed the Boss audio system into the boat. And upon doing so, we ended up having a whiny noise, which is basically alternator noise, or in our case, the stator noise, which is what creates AC current, which then gets converted into DC, so that way the batteries get charged and then the rest of the motor has electricity, like the spark plugs. Basically what's happening is that there's a certain gruppequency in that stator that the radio actually picks up, and then it gets really whiny. Coffee. It's super early. All right, so the reason why it's super early is because the last couple of days it's been super hot, and really the only time to get any work done, especially in the boat, it's gonna have to be first thing in the morning. So I went ahead and I called Boss, told them what was going on, asked them if they can help me. I talked to one of their technical departments, and they suggested this, which is the Boss audio system B15 or B15N 12 amp automotive noise suppressor. It doesn't necessarily need to be this. It can be any audio noise suppressor that you can find out there. I've been trying to find these guys, or this particular model, on Amazon for the last couple of weeks. Can't find anything. But I'll drop a link of any of these suppressor noises down in the description below. Also, we've joined the affiliate program for Amazon. So by clicking on the links below, you're actually helping us out with the channel, which is very much appreciated, which in turn will help us make more of these unboxing videos, installation videos, and just videos in general. So hope you guys support. And also, if you like these kinds of videos, also overlanding and just spending time with family and seeing family camping, why don't you go ahead, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, so that way you are notified for every time there is a video. All right, let's go ahead, open this up, read the instructions, and get this installed, and also get the boat into the shade before it gets super hot. Alright, so this is how the system looks like. You have your positive and negative, and then this one goes into the radio. We're going to read this here on the back of the instructions. If you guys want to pause this to take a look, to follow it, feel free. So it's supposed to eliminate noise, hum, and alternator whine, which is definitely what we have. Okay, so the idea is you have an inline fuse going to the power, and chassis negative. In this case, we do have a spot for the negative. And then the blue wire is going to go to the radio. The one thing I'm wondering, that blue wire, does that get connected to the positive? I'm assuming so. Anyways, let's go ahead, open this up. This is it. It just came, this unit here, and then the cardboard. First impressions, let me tell you. Yeah. You would think this was steel, but it's not. It's plastic, very highly chromed plastic casing. Interesting. Hopefully this doesn't overheat to the point where it does melt the casing. That's the only concern I have. But again, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be drawing a lot of power. So, okay, so the idea is, like I was saying, in the fuse panel, this is going to go there. That's going to also go into the fuse panel to the negative. And then this should be going to the radio. Which means we're going to need butts. Butts, not big butts today. Smaller butts. Let's see, this one is 16 to 14 gauge, which should be this. All right, so we got these butts. All right, so sorry about this all being grainy. All right, so looking at this, and underneath here, it's really tight. We have basically our main power hub, power wires over here. All right, so I found a note here on the main power wires, which is kind of good. So the yellow wires is a 12 volt constant, the red wire is a signal wire, and then the black wire is the negative wire. So these are the ones that I'm going to have to be concentrating on. what I'm going to end up doing is, instead of cutting and splicing over here, I'm going to do it closer to the fuse box, which is right over there. So I'm going to trace where that power wire goes to, and then I'll splice into there and I'll add it. It's going to be really tight in here, so I don't know how much of the camera I'm going to be using. I'm going to try using my DJI Action. These don't do very well in low lighting situations. Maybe I'll go get my fluorescent flashlight, put it in. Okay, let's get to work. It's getting hot, man. All right, so I ended up getting a light, so it's working out for both of us, so I can actually see in here, and so can you guys. All right, so the first thing you want to do is actually disconnect the power. And also what I ended up doing for safer measure is to pull the fuse. This is what's really cool about this fuse block, is that when the fuse is blown, that actually will light up and it will show you what fuse is blown. So that way you don't have to try to trace anything. So yeah, that's a good thing. Yep, it's working. So far, so good. So let's go ahead, turn the motor on and see if it still makes any noise. Okay, it's not working. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. I'm gonna have to call boss and talk to them. So I will let you guys know what I find out. All right, things did not go as what we planned. I'm gonna end this video here because it did take some time to put this video together. I don't want to leave you guys hanging as long as I already have. It's already been over a year now since we installed the radio and had this problem. I haven't found a solution. I called boss and I was speaking to their technician. I was explaining to him what was going on and that I added the B15N and it did nothing whatsoever. I mean, like literally nothing. It didn't improve nada. He was talking about having us send in the head unit so that that way they can take a look because there could be something wrong with the head unit. So I asked him, what is the turnaround on that? So it looks like we're gonna probably be, if we do decide to send it in, and I haven't decided yet, that it'll be about 2 to 3 weeks. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, that's gonna be half the summer's already gone. I'm gonna work on this to see if there's another way that I can figure this out. We do have some good news though. I had one subscriber who talked about using a resistor spark plug. I'm like, okay, I never knew they made anything like that, but so I Googled it, and NGK makes a resistor spark plug. So I called my local hardware store or my local automotive store. They had none in stock. Amazon they had a bunch in stock, so I ended up picking up 3 for my motor. And then I called my local marina store and spoke to somebody. They didn't know what I was talking about, which I was a little bit surprised, but they ended up referring me to official Mercury motor dealer. So I called those guys, and when the first thing I mentioned about the spark plugs with resistors on it, the guy told me right off the bat they do not recommend using those spark plugs. I'm like, okay. So I told him what was going on, about how, I added the noise filter in and, what we did in this video. And he asked me, he's like, okay, well, do you have a factory antenna? I'm thinking to myself. So I told him, I'm like, no. He's like, okay, sometimes what ends up happening is that with some boats, they have the antenna that's in the hull somehow, integrated into the hull somehow. And then he was saying that there are times where that antenna will actually interfere and cause feedback or cause noise. I'm thinking, okay, so then it sort of sounds like it's a ground loop if it's that, but I'm just thinking this, I'm listening to the guy. So I told him I have an aftermarket. He's like, okay, so then it should be okay. I'm like, but it's still the problem. So we just ended it like that. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to try this out. Just see, you know. I unplugged the antenna. Sure enough, I want to say from half throttle and lower, huge difference. It stopped whining. The noises pretty much went away. Huge difference. And I'm just like, that's insane, just to unplug an antenna. But at the higher RPMs, like at full throttle, it's still there, which kind of sucks because that's, you know, like you want to listen to music, you know, as you're going across the lake. So we're still going to try to figure that out. I was talking to my buddy, and he's going to help me figure that out before I make the decision to send in the head unit. Yeah, that is where we are right now. And like I said, I don't want to push this video any longer. I want to let you guys know, you know, what we did, what we found out, and what worked, what's not working. So, like I said, we unplugged the radio. And yes, you're probably wondering, oh, but if you unplug the radio, you're not going to get any reception. We got reception. We were actually listening to tunes on the water, like I said, about half throttle and lower. So, which is pretty cool. So there's a little bit of a light at the end of this tunnel. I hope you like this video. Give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions or any comments or even tips, suggestions, leave them down in the description below. We definitely would like to have any feedback from anybody out there who's had this kind of problem and found a solution. All right, with that said, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that way you are notified every time there is a video. Until the next time, stay safe, and who knows, maybe we'll see you out there.